And welcome again to Ultimate Soccer. This time we're talking 2023 Gold Cup semi-final predictions, prognostications, and foretelling. But before we get there, I got to say, 4 games in 2 games, I was going through a lot of this, just like the guys on the field, yeah? Gator. I got my Gator going, had my Gator going all the games. Still got the marbles in the head rolling at the right time as well. So, hydrated, ready to go, just like the guys on the field. But I got to tell you, we got 2 massive semi-finals coming up. I got my 4 picks right. Did you get your picks right? Down below for the semi-finals on this show. Towards the end, you're going to get all the info coming through. But I got to tell you, 4 decent quarterfinals. The only one that really wasn't an enjoyable game, I got to say, was the first one, which was Panama taking out Qatar 4-0. But if you're a Panama fan, you were loving it, and you're in the semi-finals waiting to see who you're going to play. Now, the first quarterfinal that I'm going to talk about, the third quarterfinal, was Guatemala taking on Jamaica. I have to say, Guatemala played a fantastic game. You've got to be really proud of your team, Guatemala. You stood tall. You took the game to Jamaica as much as you could. And I got to say this, in your own third, you were solid all game. In defense, solid. The interchange play in and out of defense was fantastic. For a team ranked 116 in the world, Guatemala played a phenomenal defensive game. And you have to say, they had to play a perfect defensive game to get a result out of this game. In the middle third, midfield, they did just as well. And they had a few sporadic attacks up front. With a little bit of luck, they may well have got a goal. But on the day, Jamaica, that man, Damari Gray, who's having a fantastic competition, slides the ball through. Amari Bell gets on the end of it, slides it in the near post. Keeper has no chance. 1-0. That's all she wrote from this game. And you've got to say, just one thing for you Jamaica fans. You make a lot of things happen in the game, and you create a lot of stuff up front, and you look good to it. But could you not be a little bit more ruthless on the finish? Because I think in the next game, you're going to have to be. So another decent performance by Jamaica. I'm not going to name a man for the team. I'm not going to name a man of the match, because I think this game was all 2 teams going level at it, hard at it, and trying as much as they could to get a result. But on the day, it finishes 1-0 to Jamaica. Mr. Bell gets the goal. That's all she wrote, like I told you. And at the end of the day, Guatemala would still keep going and still keep trying to get back into this game. But as you saw, it finished 1-0 to Guatemala's enemy on the day, Jamaica. Jamaica looking good, moving through. Let's see how far they can go, but they got to be more ruthless. Now, in the second quarterfinal, I'm still taking my breath on that one. What a game. What a game. I'm going to read through things, but at the end of the day, it finishes 2-2, and then USA wins 4-2 on penalty kicks. I got to tell you, the game itself was an absolute battle of attrition. It wasn't exciting. It was just a game of many, many calls and things that didn't happen. And referee Ortiz, he had a busy night on the night, but like I say, 2-2 after 120, extra time included, and 4-2 on penalties to the USA. You got to say, did Canada look like England on the penalty kicks? I say they did. It didn't look too good. But the effort that the Canadian team put into that game was what made it a 2-2 game. Looking on the scoreboard, you got to say Vasquez comes on, replaces Jesus Ferreira, who really didn't have a great game at all. He was in the game, but not really in the game. He had a few chances, but never released a shot quick enough. Had he done so, it could have been a 2 or a 3-1 win for the USA. But looking on the scoreboards, Vasquez gets the go-ahead goal on 88 minutes, and the USA is celebrating, thinking it's all done and dusted, but it's not. And then a Victoria penalty on 90 minutes plus 3 ties it up, and you know we're going to go to extra time. And looking at extra time, you really thought that the USA was your bigger team to take it in extra time. But who takes the lead? Shuffleberg on 109 minutes. Now, I'll tell you what, fantastic piece of play. He gets the ball on the left side of midfield, runs on the left side of the US defense, takes on a man, beats the man, powers a ball on the far side of Turner. And I think Turner may want to have that back, but Shuffleberg rises to the top, scores the goal on the day, puts Canada 2-1 up with minutes left, and then the silence of the stadium. It was absolutely pin drop quiet. But give the USA credit. They didn't back down. They didn't get scared. They raced away and got that tying goal, albeit an own goal from Scott Kennedy the Canadian that came on minutes before he scores the own goal. Much like Russell Rowe scoring the own goal a couple of games earlier. That one's at BMO Field. But at the end of the day, 2-2, 4-2 on penalty kicks for the USA. Turner and goal looks really good on the penalties. Dayne St. Clair was close on a couple, but it finishes 4-2. And you got to think, the first shot went way over the bar by the US, and they win 4-2. Beware, on penalty kicks, the USA is pretty hot. Now, let's take a look at the semi-finals coming up. Now, let's take a look at the first semi-final. Jamaica taking on Mexico. This one, I think, is pretty close. I don't think there's a lot between these two teams at all. And if you're looking at the form, I think Mexico's coming into some decent form, but so is Jamaica as well. It comes down to who's going to finish best. And like I said early on in, the only thing I've got against Jamaica right now, or I can pick up or pick at them for, is that the offense squanders a lot of chances. You've got to start to be ruthless up front. If you become ruthless in the next two games, you win this tournament. I can see nobody else doing it. If, and it's a big if you can get ruthless and put the ball in the back of the net. Everything about Jamaica is positive. Everything is working correctly, but it's putting the ball in the back of the net. So let's not be squandering. Let's be ruthless and make it happen. Mexico, on the other hand, you got to say they've been a little bit quiet. So they've got the form going, but they're a little bit quiet. They haven't really thrashed anybody, and they haven't really stamped their foot of approval on anything. I think this is going to be a tough test for Mexico in the first semi-final. My pick, looking at the form, you got Jamaica 4-3-1-0, 11 goals, 4-2 against. So Jamaica unbeaten. Mexico's lost already, yeah? But Mexico's record, 3 wins, 1 loss, 9 goals for, 2 against. +7 goal difference in favor of Mexico, +9 in favor of Jamaica. This one's really tight. It really is a tight affair. And if I'm going to pick one, I'll tell you why. I'm going to pick Mexico to take this game on one side of the equation. If Mexico can get the ball playing around and keep the possession and not get bullied off the ball. Jamaica's got a real strong physical presence in every department, and that's not what Mexico has. Mexico can do that, but they don't normally do it. Mexico wants to play through you, play the pretty plays, play the tactical game, but they haven't got that physical effort or presence that I think Jamaica will bring. If Jamaica wins, it's because they played a tough, physical game, and they've worn down Mexico throughout. Mexico wins, it's through trickery, clever play, and smart tactics on the ball, and killer instinct and finish. And that's one thing that Mexico has. They can finish. They've got the skill to finish by a lot of players. So on the day, it's going to be down to this. Whoever is ruthless in front of goal, who doesn't mess up and make a massive mistake on the field of play, goes through. I'm saying this much. I'm looking for Mexico to get to that final, but Jamaica's got a massive chance. I'm going to go with Mexico. Now, the other semi-final you're talking about, this is going to be pretty decent. This is going to be pretty decent. I tell you now, everybody's looking for the USA just to walk on through and take out Panama, no problem. But you got to say, on the day, Panama's form throughout the tournament, remember, Panama's still unbeaten. 4 games in, 3 wins, a draw, 10 scored, 4 against, +6 on the goal difference. Not too shabby. And no one's looking at Panama, the dark horse, to win it all. You Panama fans, you know exactly what your team's all about. You weren't expected to get this far and do so well. Now that you've done so well, now you've got that confidence going, who's going to stop you? I tell you what, the USA just went through a massive semi-final against Canada, and Panama's had 1 day's extra rest. Panama didn't play overtime. Panama didn't have to go through a PK shooter. Panama had a 90-minute entry into the next round with ease when they took out Qatar 4-0. So Panama is going to be well rested for this game. I think the USA lost a lot of energy. But hey, you got to say the 12th is a couple of days away. But remember, Panama's got a day's extra rest on the USA. Mexico's got a day's extra rest on Jamaica. That will mean something in the final 25 to 30 minutes of that game coming up. When you're talking about being fit, remember, it's 6 games to glory for every team that gets to the final. That's 6 games in short time. The next game up is game 5 for both teams in short time, and then it's game 6 in the final. I hope they've got enough energy, and I hope they've been drinking enough Gatorade to keep themselves lively. But the USA and the Panama game, I really feel that you've got to be looking for the USA to win the game, but you cannot disregard Panama pulling off a result, and it wouldn't be a shock. There's no way you can call Panama 1 or 2-1 over the US as a shock. It will be a well-earned victory if they get it. On the day, though, I do feel that what the US just got away with against the Canadians, whereby they could have gone out, well, that's literally a gypsy's warning or the devil's warning that you got to bring your game every game, and you got to give 100%, and you got to stay focused, and you can't stop giving up the one-on-ones. You can't stop losing the individual battles. You've got to win everything if you want to win the title. So America had a shock and a little bit of a shocker against Canada that, like I say, nearly put them out. Maybe that'll serve the USA as a real good learning curve and a bit of a lesson. Let's just shape up and let's go for the throat and be ruthless. If you want to win the title, you got to be ruthless. Winners are not nice guys. They're ruthless. They go for the throat. They kill you off, and they won't be happy with one goal. They want to get the second goal and add to it. So on the day, the semifinals, I'm going to go for Mexico. I'm going to go for the USA. And there's one thing I will say. In the game against the USA, they didn't exactly look like they were rattled. They didn't look like they were ever imposed on by Canada. And they always seem to have something in reserve. That's the mark of a team that's on its way to destiny and on its way to winning another trophy. And remember, the USA is defending their own title in their own backyard, in front of their own fans, with their home cooking. And I expect them to win it again. That's just what I'm saying. So, semifinals moving through. You hear what I'm saying? USA, Mexico. I'm looking for a USA-Mexico final. It's going to be USA-Mexico final unless Jamaica become ruthless in front of net. And after the semifinals, if we're still having this conversation about Jamaica not being ruthless, well, then you heard it here first, because no one else is saying it. Now, the one last thing I want to tell you about is the next show coming up is the final. So, get your picks in for the final. The two semi-final winners is what I'm looking for from you. So down below, like you do before, just give us your picks. Get your picks in. I know that makes you laugh, but get your picks in, or drop your picks down below and tell me who you think is going to win the semi-finals. And hey, come back again after that, and we're talking the final with an in-depth analysis of everything coming through. Now, don't forget, there are awards coming up. You got the player of the competition who's got to be notarized. You've also got the goalkeeping, the Golden Glove, yeah? You got the Fair Play Trophy as well. You got the Young Player as well. And then to finish off, you've got the top scorer of the competition as well. So we've got plenty of awards to talk about in the next show. Get your nominations in for those 5 awards. And hey, you might have to wait till after the final for the top scorer. But with Jesus Ferreira on 6, I think he's looking pretty good to actually get ahead and win that one. But you know what to do. Down below, drop your comments, have a good time with it. There's 5 awards I want to hear from you. There's 2 semifinals I want to hear from you, see what you're giving me there. And after that, we'll get into other good stuff too. But on the day, you got to say 4 brilliant quarterfinals, 2 semifinals still to come, the finals still to come. And I'm going to say it one more time. This is definitely the best Gold Cup I've ever witnessed. It's been so much fun, and the parity's been absolutely close. So, as in years gone by when it wasn't so exciting, it was a bit of a bore. Well, this Gold Cup has not been a bore. The officiating has been absolutely decent as well. Busy stadiums, filled stadiums, a busy competition, a great competition. You couldn't ask for more. Get ready for the semi-finals. There's my picks. Drop your picks down below. I got to tell you, looking like USA is going to be defending a title in the final if it goes right. What's Panama going to say? And can Jamaica get past Mexico? I don't know. Let me know what you're thinking down below and drop your picks like you always do. Get ready for the next games, guys. I am, and get ready for a lot more too. Cheers.